My wife's young lover suddenly posted to his Instagram story. Before the ball drops on New Year's Eve, it's either a marriage certificate or a one-way ticket. Below the text was a screenshot of a flight confirmation to London. Scarlett, usually the picture of stoic elegance, completely unraveled. She came home, a rarity these days, and looked at me with desperate eyes. "He's serious this time, Lucas," she said, her voice trembling. "Let's just do a fake divorce. Just for a few days so you can move out, and I can calm down, okay?" She took a step closer, her expression a mix of guilt and command. "Don't worry, it's just paperwork. In my heart, you're the only man I'll ever truly be married to." It sounded like a request, but we both knew it was an ultimatum. What she didn't know was that I was bound to her by the Sentinel Protocol. I had come to this world specifically to be her companion. The moment we divorced and lived apart, I would be scrubbed from this reality entirely, never to see her again. After I agreed to her temporary divorce, Scarlett didn't waste a second. She drove me straight to the county clerk's office. "Lucas, just 7 days. Give me 1 week," she pleaded as we walked toward the glass doors. "Once I got Wyatt settled, we'll come right back here and fix this, okay?" She looked at me with such curated affection, presenting me with a tray of parting gifts she'd prepared: a Patek Philippe watch, a bouquet of deep crimson peonies, and a black Centurion card with a staggering limit. Looking at the luxury spread before me, it felt like our honeymoon phase again, when we used to spend hours brainstorming ways to surprise each other. Only now, these gifts were the price of my exit, bought to clear the path for her boyfriend's ego. Over the years, boys like Wyatt had come and gone. In the beginning, I fought it. I screamed, I begged, I made scenes. And every time, Scarlett would patiently soothe me, promising it was just a phase. Then, a few months later, she'd succumb to the thrill of someone new again. Eventually, I just got tired. But the protocol was signed. Divorce meant mission failure. It meant returning to my original world, to a broken body kept alive by humming machines and plastic tubes, where I would simply lie and wait for the lights to go out. I couldn't afford the price of leaving. Through the years of quiet suffering, I realized the system never made a bad deal. What I thought was an easy assignment was actually a slow-motion execution, swapping the guillotine for a long, thin rope. Gradually, I accepted the reality of her nature. I told myself that in this day and age, true loyalty was a fairy tale anyway. As long as she came home, as long as the mission didn't fail, I could survive. We tell ourselves many things when we are powerless. But Wyatt was different. For him, Scarlett had stayed away for an entire month. That had never happened before. And now, to keep him from boarding that plane, she was forcing me out. I knew then that it was over. My mission had officially failed. "Keep the gifts," I said quietly, turning toward the hall. "Let's just get the papers signed." Scarlett hesitated for a beat before following me inside. As we sat before the clerk, she leaned in close, her eyes brimming with a performative tenderness. I remained perfectly still, my face a mask of cold composure. The clerk looked at us, confused by our proximity. "Marriage licenses are at the other counter," he noted. I shook my head. "No, we're here for a dissolution." The clerk looked between us. "Are you both certain you want to proceed with a divorce?" "Yes," Scarlett blurted out before I could even open my mouth. The word hung in the air, sharp and final. She caught herself, looking at me with a flicker of unease. "Lucas." "Yes," I echoed. Scarlett let out a visible sigh of relief. While we waited for the final stamps, she kept glancing at me, her hand twitching as if she wanted to reach for mine. I pulled away before she could make contact. She bit her lip, clearly wanting to say something, but the public setting kept her quiet. Once the decree was issued, we walked out into the crisp winter air. After a few minutes of silence, I spoke first. "I'll go back and pack. I'll be out in 2 hours." Scarlett's eyes softened with a look that almost resembled heartbreak. "Lucas, there's no rush. Stay for dinner. We can start the clock tomorrow. Wyatt actually has a late class at the university today." Before she could finish, a young man in a designer tracksuit and a backward cap jogged toward us, a triumphant grin on his face. "Scarlett, I've been waiting out here forever." He shot me a look of pure, unadulterated malice, his smile twisting into a sneer. "Hey, man, thanks for stepping aside for us." Scarlett's face paled. "Wyatt, what are you doing here? Go back to campus now." She stepped in front of me, playing the role of my protector. It was a farce. Once, Scarlett had sworn I was her soulmate. Then came the accidental connections. Once, she promised her flings would never cross my threshold. Now Wyatt was standing on the sidewalk, and I was the one being evicted. Was she actually panicking? Was she finally ashamed of her broken promises? Wyatt didn't move. He pouted, looking like a spoiled child. Scarlett, you already divorced him. Why are you still acting like his bodyguard? I skipped class to give you a surprise. You said I could move in tonight. You promised. Scarlett pointed toward her car, her voice dropping to a dangerous chill. Get in the car, Wyatt. I won't say it again. Wyatt glared at me one last time before sulking off toward her SUV. When Scarlett turned back to me, her composure was gone. Lucas, I'm so sorry. I didn't think he'd show up like that. He's just a brat. I've spoiled him too much. I'll handle him when we get home. Please, don't be angry. I simply shook my head. It's fine. I had seen things far more painful than this. I was beyond feeling. Scarlett searched my face, and seeing no anger, she seemed to relax. She glanced back at the car, where Wyatt was waiting. Lucas, she said softly, her voice thick with a fake guilt. About moving out. Maybe it is better if you go sooner rather than later. Just a moment ago, she wanted to spend the evening with me. One look at Wyatt, and I was inconvenienced again. A bitter taste filled my mouth, and I nodded. When we returned to the estate, I didn't see Wyatt. I went straight to the master bedroom and packed. I had one suitcase of clothes and one cardboard box filled with the us we used to be. Handwritten letters, a pair of ceramic mugs we'd made in a pottery class, old concert tickets. As I stood over the box, Scarlett walked in. Her eyes flitted to the door, her movements hurried. Lucas, just toss the old junk. You could buy all new stuff when you move back in. Right, when things get old, you just replace them. People too. I gave a short, hollow laugh. I couldn't believe I'd let myself feel even a flicker of bitterness over her attitude. I had been disappointed so many times, yet I still expected a shred of dignity from her. I carried the box down to the curb and dropped it into the trash bin. As I moved to my car with my lone suitcase, Scarlett followed me out, her eyes misty. Lucas, give me a hug. She opened her arms. I stepped back. It's okay, I said, looking past her. It's only 7 days, right? Don't make Wyatt jealous. I knew Wyatt was probably watching from an upstairs window, waiting to claim his throne. Scarlett froze, then managed a weak smile. You're right. Only 7 days. Thank you, Lucas. I nodded, got into my car, and drove away without looking back. The moment I cleared the gates, a cold, mechanical voice resonated in my mind. User, the system has detected divorce and separation from the target. Mission, failure. In 7 days, you will be extracted from this world via a fatal vehicular event. 7 years ago, I had been in a horrific crash in my own world. To survive, I'd signed the Sentinel Protocol. If I could marry the target and maintain a 7-year union, I'd be granted a healthy body. In the beginning, I thought I was the luckiest man alive. Scarlett was everything I'd ever wanted, brilliant, beautiful, and seemingly devoted. We fell in love instantly. She spent a fortune on grand romantic gestures, billboards with my face on them, hand-knit sweaters, elaborate surprise parties. She even spent 3 days on her knees in front of her traditionalist parents' house to get them to approve our marriage. Lucas Miller, in this life and the next, I will love only you. That was her vow. In that moment, I had been so moved that I'd requested a change in the reward. Instead of returning home healthy, I asked to stay here healthy and grow old with Scarlett. But now, with only 7 days left on the clock, she had pulled the rug out from under me. Extraction was inevitable. I had to return to my original world to face whatever fate awaited me there. I checked into a nondescript hotel. On the drive over, I saw the city's digital billboards. Every single one had been updated with a photo of a smiling boy. Happy 19th birthday to my golden boy. Love, your North Star. The boy was Wyatt. Scarlett's nickname for herself in her private letters to me had always been North Star. I finally understood the rush for the divorce. It wasn't just to pacify him. She wanted to give her new lover a birthday present. The status of being the only man in her house. I stared at the billboard, a ghost of a memory surfacing. When I first arrived, it was Scarlett who pursued me with that same North Star signature. 7 years later, she was using the same script, just with a new lead actor. She'd forgotten the vows she'd made back then. I had barely unpacked when my phone rang. It was the hospital, asking me to pick up her parents' annual physical results. For years, Scarlett had been too busy for family matters, so I had handled everything for her parents. Since I was leaving, I figured I should tie up the loose ends. I drove to the Vance estate. Before I even reached the front door, I saw Wyatt through the large bay window. I froze. Inside, Scarlett was shielding Wyatt from her parents. She looked furious. Dad, Mom, Lucas is busy today. I brought Wyatt here specifically to see you. There's no need to throw the gifts. Her father, a stern man who had come to treat me like a son, pointed a shaking finger at her. You ungrateful girl. I told you, Lucas Miller is the only son-in-law I recognize. Get this little gold digger out of my house. Get out. Scarlett's mother was pale, clutching her chest. Your father is right. Take him away, Scarlett. How could you do this to Lucas? Watching them, I felt a strange sense of déjà vu. Years ago, when Scarlett first brought me home and they refused to accept me, she had defended me with that same fiery conviction. Back then, I was the one she chose over the world. Now it was Wyatt. I realized then that it didn't matter who was standing next to her. She would defend whoever held her interest at the moment. Her devotion wasn't about the person, it was about her own desires. Back then, she had knelt for 3 days until they relented. When I found out, I'd held her and cried. She just wiped my tears away and said, nothing can stop us now. I'd spent years winning them over, cooking for them, taking them to appointments. They loved me now, but Scarlett's heart had moved on. The irony was suffocating. Lucas and I have an agreement. Scarlett shouted, her face flushed. She doesn't mind me bringing Wyatt home. I'm not asking you to love him, just to be polite. Come on, Wyatt, we're leaving. She grabbed Wyatt's arm and stormed toward the door. I quickly set the medical reports on the porch and turned to leave, but the door swung open. Lucas. Our eyes met. I saw the flash of panic and guilt in her gaze, but she didn't chase after me. I walked out of the complex and waited for the inevitable text. Lucas. I only took Wyatt there to see them because he asked. It doesn't mean anything. I promised him that for these few days, I'd treat him like a husband just to say goodbye. That's all. You're still my only real son-in-law, my only husband. I promise after this week, I'll cut him off completely and make it up to you, okay? She sent message after message, terrified I'd misunderstood. I typed back a simple response. It's fine. I just dropped off their lab results. They're getting older. You should look over the charts when you have a chance. In the future, she or Wyatt would have to handle these things. Scarlett replied instantly. You're still angry. You're jealous of a kid, aren't you? Then, she sent a Venmo transfer for $50,000. Take this and go out with some friends. Have some fun. We're getting remarried in a few days. Don't overthink it. I love you most. She sent a blowing kiss emoji. I didn't take the money. I just replied, okay. With no home to go to and no mission left to serve, I wandered aimlessly through the city. I ended up on the historic river walk where Scarlett and I used to go on dates. Scarlett, put this bunny ear headband on. You look so cute. Let's take a selfie. The voice was familiar. I looked up and saw Scarlett and Wyatt in matching designer hoodies, posing for photos. Scarlett saw me and her face dropped. She walked over quickly. Before she could speak, Wyatt whimpered. Are you following us, man? Scarlett only has a few days with me. Do you have to be so clingy? His eyes turned red, his voice cracking. Do I have to disappear forever before you're satisfied? Scarlett turned on him. Don't speak to Lucas like that. Wait over there. Wyatt tried to protest, but Scarlett's expression darkened, and he reluctantly shuffled away. She turned to me with a sigh of exasperation. Lucas, this is getting exhausting. I told you it's just 7 days. Can't you find something else to do instead of hovering over us? I told you we're getting remarried. Why won't you listen? I looked at her, and for the first time, I felt nothing. No pain, no longing. I'm not following you, I said calmly. This was just our old spot. I walked here by habit. My mistake. It won't happen again. I turned to walk away. She grabbed my arm, a flash of regret crossing her face. I'm sorry, Lucas. I shouldn't have snapped. I'm just playing a part with a kid, I swear. No one will ever take your place. Believe me? I nodded. Sure. I pulled my arm back and walked into the crowd. For the next few days, I stayed in my hotel room. I bought colored paper and started making origami. I folded dozens of swallows, the kind where you pull the tail and the wings flap. But no matter how much they flapped, they were just paper. They couldn't fly away. When did we change? It wasn't the first time she strayed. It was the first time she strayed, and I, because of the protocol, didn't leave. People teach each other how to be treated. My silence was her permission. Every time I forgave her to keep the mission alive, I was handing her a knife and showing her where to cut. My phone buzzed. It was a DM from Wyatt. It was a photo of him and Scarlett in a high-end tailor shop. She just bought me a $10,000 suit, bro. I'm sleeping in your bed tonight. Hope you aren't mad. You must be fuming. But hey, you're the past. She needs someone who actually makes her feel alive. I didn't reply. On the third day, Scarlett showed up at my hotel. She looked stressed and angry the moment the door opened. Lucas, can't you just grow up for once? I told you this would be over in a week. Why do you have to keep attacking Wyatt? Attacking him? I asked. I had given up on the protocol, the marriage, and her. Why would I bother with him? Scarlett scowled. Don't play dumb. Why did you have people jump him on the street? I took a breath, keeping my voice level. I didn't have anyone touch him. Just admit it, she snapped. I'm trying to give him a happy final week, so I can come back to you and we can have a normal life again. Why make it harder? I looked at her, stunned. Normal? Scarlett, you forced a divorce so you could move a teenager into our house. What part of this is normal? The house is yours, she argued. My name, my money, my assets. You're the only one who gets the legal rights, the family legacy. What more do you want? I was speechless. To her, these were generous concessions. If I were just a mercenary husband, I'd be thrilled. But we had a history. We had a life. Now, even our marriage was a bargaining chip for her new toy. I didn't touch him. I repeated, turning away. Scarlett let out an annoyed huff. You were never like this before. Why are you being so difficult now? Because for 7 years, I was a prisoner of hope. Now I was just a man waiting for a car crash. I turned back to her with a hollow smile. You think I hit him? Fine. Let's go. I'll apologize to his face. Scarlett seemed surprised by the sudden shift. You don't have to be so dramatic. Just as long as you know it was wrong. Let's go, I said. She drove us back to the estate. We sat in silence, the familiar landmarks of our life passing by like scenes from a movie I'd already seen. As we pulled into the driveway, she looked at me. When this is over, I'll have the whole place deep cleaned. I'll replace the furniture. You won't see a trace of him. I nodded. Great. Inside, the house was unrecognizable. My minimalist, mid-century modern pieces had been replaced by neon lights and trendy, cheap-looking influencer decor. Wyatt was marking his territory. He came running out of the bedroom in silk pajamas I recognized. I'd bought them for myself. His face had a small bruise on the cheek and a cut on his lip. Scarlett, you're back. He saw me and shrank back. Why is he here? Is he going to hurt me again? Wyatt, Lucas knows he was wrong. He's here to apologize, Scarlett said. Wyatt's expression shifted from fear to a smug, oily grin. He thought he'd won. He thought I was bowing down to keep my place in the Vance fortune. Well, if you're really sorry, I guess I can. I didn't let him finish. I stepped forward and planted a solid right hook into his jaw. He hit the floor, yelping. I grabbed his collar and gave him 2 more for good measure. Lucas! Scarlett screamed, frozen in shock. I wiped my knuckles. He said I had people hit him. I didn't, but that was me. Now I can apologize. Sorry about that, Wyatt. I looked at Scarlett. If he lies about me again, I'll come back and finish the job before I say sorry next time. I walked out of the house. Scarlett started to follow, but Wyatt's wailing drew her back. My phone buzzed later that night. Stay at the hotel. I'll come find you later. She wouldn't. I knew her. On the final day, day 7, I checked out of the hotel. I dressed in my best suit and drove aimlessly, waiting for the end. Scarlett called me, her voice uncharacteristically cheerful. Hey, honey, it's almost midnight. I'm coming to the hotel to bring you home. You happy now? Sure, I said, my voice thin. The next thing I heard was a deafening crunch of metal. A crimson mist filled my vision as my car slammed into a concrete pillar. The pain was absolute, then suddenly it began to fade into a numbing cold. I heard sirens in the distance. Someone pulled me from the wreckage. My phone, miraculously intact, was picked up by a bystander. They hit the last number dialed. Hello, is this Lucas Miller's family? There's been a severe accident. There was a silence on the other end. Then Wyatt's voice came through. Scarlett, it's the final hour. He's really desperate, huh? Making up a fake accident to get you to leave. Scarlett took the phone. Her voice was soft, patronizing. Lucas, stop with the games. It's bad luck to joke about things like this. I told you, I'll be there at midnight. Just wait for me. The bystander tried to explain, ma'am, this isn't a joke, but she hung up. I was rushed to the ER, but the machines couldn't find a rhythm to hold on to. My consciousness drifted. I saw images of our first meeting, our wedding, the way she used to look at me before the boredom set in. User extraction commencing in 3, 2, 1. The long, flat tone of the heart monitor filled the room. The doors to the ICU burst open. Scarlett ran in, a smile on her face. Lucas, I'm here. Time's up. She stopped. She saw the blood-soaked sheets and the stillness of the room. What are you doing? She asked, her voice brittle. I was told Lucas was in this room. Where is he? The doctors looked at her with grim faces. We did everything we could, Ms. Vance. Mr. Miller passed away moments ago. Scarlett's face went blank. What do you mean? Lucas, stop it. I'm here now. Ma'am, please. He's gone. She moved toward the bed, her legs like lead. When she saw my face, cold and gray, she collapsed to her knees, a guttural scream tearing from her throat. Lucas! Lucas, wake up. Please, just wake up. Lucas, are you just mad? Are you punishing me for the week? Just yell at me, okay? Just say something. She was hysterical. I felt a dull ache in my chest, which was strange because I was hovering near the ceiling. My soul hadn't left the world yet. System error. Extraction delayed due to recalibration. You must remain in spirit form for 48 hours. If you can accumulate enough regret points from the target, the system can restore your original body to perfect health upon your return. Regret points? The system was a cold-blooded gambler. I was dead, and my life depended on whether she felt bad enough. Scarlett was eventually moved to the morgue. She sat there for hours, holding my cold hand, her tears falling on my skin. Regret points, 30%. Her phone rang. It was Wyatt. His voice was playful. Scarlett, you said if he was faking, you'd give me another week. Are you coming back? Is he still clinging to you? Scarlett's eyes turned to ice. Wyatt, remember what I told you the first day we met? Wyatt stammered. You said Lucas was your husband, that he was the priority. But Scarlett, you don't even like him? Shut up, she screamed into the phone. I love whoever I want, and right now, I hate you. Did I spoil you so much you forgot who you're talking to? She hung up and looked back at my body. Lucas, I am sorry. I won't let anyone else touch our life again. I'm taking you home. She had security move my body into her SUV. She sat in the back with me, cradle in my head. She saw a travel mug in the cup holder, a his and hers set Wyatt had bought. She threw it out the window into the highway traffic. I am sorry, Lucas. I won't let that trash pollute you anymore. Back at the estate, she had the bedroom chilled to a freezing temperature to preserve me. She lay me on the bed and curled up next to me. Lucas, remember that origami butterfly you made me? You cut your hand on the paper. I still have the letters you wrote. She looked around. Wait, where are they? I know I kept them in the nightstand. She started tearing the room apart, looking for our memories. Then she froze. She remembered what she told me a week ago. Toss the old junk. She ran out of the room. I followed as a ghost. Mrs. Gable, where is the box Lucas had? The housekeeper looked terrified. Ma'am, you said it was junk. You told him to throw it away. Scarlett collapsed. What have I done? Lucas, I'm so sorry. She turned to the guards. Find it. Check the landfill. Check the recycling centers. I don't care what it costs. Get that box back. She crawled back to the bed and knelt beside me. Lucas, did you hate me that day? How could I be so cruel? I watched her, but I didn't feel vindicated. The hate had burned out a long time ago. I had stayed for the mission, and in doing so, I had lost myself. Her phone rang again. Her father. Scarlett, Lucas isn't answering his phone. My back is acting up, and he's the only one who knows how to do those stretches. Tell him to head over. Scarlett's voice broke. Dad, Lucas is. He's dead. The silence on the other end was deafening. Scarlett told them everything between sobs. When she hung up, she looked at the medical file I'd left on the porch. I had prepared everything for them before I left. You were planning to leave me anyway, weren't you? She whispered. I'd rather you had just moved out, Lucas. I didn't want you to die. The next morning, the bedroom door opened. Wyatt walked in, looking pale but trying to be charming. Scarlett, I'm sorry I was annoying. He saw the body and shrieked. Oh my God, is he really dead? Scarlett looked at him with a dead stare. Who said you could come in here? You said he was acting. Wyatt cried. Scarlett, look at him, he's gross. Why is he in the bed? He's my husband, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper. And you're the one who told me he was faking. Wyatt knelt by the bed, fake tears streaming down his face. Lucas, man, I'm so sorry. Scarlett, I didn't know. If I did, I would have stepped aside. But we have to look forward. Maybe it's fate. Maybe I'm supposed to take care of you now. I watched him. He was checking her reaction out of the corner of his eye. Scarlett didn't hesitate. She slapped him so hard he fell over. You think you can replace him? Wyatt's mask slipped. You hit me. Scarlett called her attorney immediately. I want everything back. The condo, the car, the watches. Everything I gave Wyatt Sterling. If he resists, sue him for everything he's worth. Wyatt was panicking. But Scarlett, you said as long as I loved you, the money didn't matter. Exactly, she sneered. Since you're so pure and noble, you won't mind being broke. Get out. After Wyatt was dragged out, Scarlett sat in the silence. The guards brought her my phone. They'd managed to bypass the passcode. She opened the messages. She expected to see my friends or family, but the top of the list was Wyatt. She scrolled through hundreds of messages Wyatt had sent me over the last week. We're in your bed now, Lucas. She says you're like stagnant water. I'm a fire. She's going to marry me and kick you to the curb for good. I had never replied to a single one. Scarlett's knuckles turned white. Lucas, you went through this alone, and I was the one who gave him the key to the door. She felt a physical weight on her chest. I watched her, wishing I could tell her it didn't matter anymore. Death is a very effective sedative for old wounds. Bring Wyatt back, she told the guards. Tonight, after 7:00 p.m. Wyatt arrived that evening, hopeful. He thought she cooled off. He thought the husband slot was officially open. He walked in with a mournful face, but Scarlett just handed him my phone. "Tell the man on the bed exactly what you told him in these texts," she said. Wyatt's face went translucent. "Scarlett, I was just jealous. I loved you too much. I lost my mind." He started crying, real tears of terror this time. Scarlett didn't scream. She didn't hit him. She just looked at him with a terrifying, calm curiosity. "I told you never to bother him," she said. "You broke the only rule that mattered. Now, you have to pay the price." "Wyatt, you used your tongue to kill my husband's spirit," Scarlett said. "So that's what you're going to lose." Wyatt tried to run, but the new guards, men I'd never seen before with cold eyes, pinned him down. A blade glinted in the dim light of the bedroom. "No, Scarlett, please. It was you. You're the one who let me in. You're the one who didn't love him." "Silence him," Scarlett commanded. The room filled with a wet, muffled scream and the heavy sound of a struggle. I looked away. Blood pooled on the designer rug. Wyatt was dragged to the basement, a broken, silent thing. Scarlett watched the whole thing without blinking. This wasn't love. It was a manic attempt to balance a checkbook that had been in the red for years. Regret points, 70%. I felt a surge of hope. If it hit 100%, I'd actually have a life to go back to. Scarlett's parents arrived then. They saw my body and collapsed. Her father turned on her. "Are you happy now? You gave him a title, but you gave everyone else your heart. You think a marriage certificate makes up for a hollow life." Scarlett stood there, taking the verbal blows. For the first time, she didn't fight back. The next day was the funeral. My body was cremated, and my ashes were placed in a marble urn. Scarlett sat in the front row, a veil covering her face. As the priest moved to take the urn to the cemetery, Scarlett stood up. "Stop. He's not being buried." "Scarlett, please," her father begged. "Let him rest." "No. If he's in the ground, he's gone forever. He stays with me." She took the urn back to the estate. She started hiring every medium and spiritualist she could find, paying thousands for even a hint of my presence. The system whispered to me, "Regret is at 99%. Almost there." A few days later, a local priest who actually seemed to have some insight arrived. He looked at Scarlett and sighed. "You're keeping him trapped. If you don't let him go, his soul will wither. Burial is the final act of love." Scarlett cried into the urn. "I can't. I'm not ready." "He is," the priest said. Scarlett finally agreed to bury the urn in the garden under a willow tree we'd planted together. But as she moved toward the hole, a shadow, thin, dirty, his face a mask of madness. He couldn't speak, but he let out a harrowing sound as he lunged for the urn. He grabbed it and smashed it against the garden stone. "No!" Scarlett screamed. My ashes scattered into the night wind. Scarlett scrambled on the ground, trying to scoop the dust and bone fragments in her silk dress, sobbing as the wind took more of me away. Wyatt stood over her, letting out a horrific, voiceless laugh. "Regret points, 100%. Mission complete. User, prepare for transition. Returning to original world." Scarlett looked at Wyatt with a hatred that could burn the world. "Take him back to the cellar. He will stay there until he begs for death, and I will deny it every time." She looked at the dirt in her hands, all that was left of me. "I'm so sorry, Lucas. I hope you're finally somewhere. I can't hurt you." I woke up with a gasp. The air was thick with the smell of old books and cheap laundry detergent. I was in my college dorm. "Lucas? Hey man, you okay? You've been out since that car clipped you yesterday." It was my roommate, Mark. I checked my body. No tubes, no machines. My heart was thumping strongly against my ribs. I was healthy. "User, would you like to retain the memories of the mission world?" "Delete them," I whispered. I didn't want to carry her ghost anymore. The memories faded like a dream upon waking. I lived my life. I graduated, got a job, and met a girl named Sarah. She was kind, funny, and she chose me every single day. We got married, had a daughter, and bought a house in a quiet suburb. 10 years passed in a blur of happy, mundane moments. One Saturday, I was at an upscale outdoor mall with Sarah and our daughter. I was waiting outside a cafe while they grabbed drinks. A woman in a perfectly tailored white suit walked past me. She smelled of expensive perfume and something familiar. "Lilies?" She stopped dead when she saw me. "Lucas?" she whispered. Her eyes filled with tears instantly. She grabbed my sleeve, her hand shaking. "I found you. I actually found you." I gently pulled my arm away. "I'm sorry, Mom. Do I know you?" "Lucas, it's me." "Scarlett." I shook my head. "I think you have the wrong person. My name is Lucas Miller, but I've never seen you before." Sarah walked out of the cafe then, holding our daughter's hand. "Hey, honey, got your latte." She saw the woman and slowed down. "Is everything okay?" The woman, Scarlett, looked at Sarah, then at the little girl who looked just like me. The light in her eyes simply went out. Are you married? She asked. 10 years, I said, putting an arm around Sarah. Look, lady, are you okay? Do you need a seat? She wiped her eyes and managed a tragic, beautiful smile. I am sorry. You just look exactly like someone I used to know. Someone I lost a long time ago. Just then, a man in a jogging suit ran up to her. Scarlett, there you are. You look remarkably like me. Same build, same jawline. Sarah laughed. Oh, I see now. You really do look like my husband. No wonder she was confused. The woman looked at her companion, then back at me. Yes, she said softly. A mistake. Just a ghost. As I walked away, she didn't look back. She had spent a decade looking for a miracle, only to find that the miracle had moved on to a life where she didn't exist. She walked away with her replacement, a man who looked like me but wasn't me, heading toward a marriage of convenience and quiet regret. I watched her go for a moment, feeling a strange, phantom chill, but then my daughter pulled on my hand. Daddy, can we go to the park now? I smiled, the strange woman already fading from my mind. Let's go, kiddo. The wind blew, carrying the faint scent of lilies away, leaving only the warmth of the sun and the family I had earned. Story complete.